Hi everybody, Gaming Grandad here, still Gaming Grandad here with another video. Now this is a long time since I've done a face-to-face video, a long time since you've seen Little Gaming Grandad, but I'm here today to answer a couple of questions. People have asked two main questions. Is why am I having a game room built, and two, why is it so flipping big? Well, I can answer those questions. The reason I'm having the game room built is not to be flash and have a great big room. Is not the case. The reason I'm having a game room built, it actually came about through like a throwaway comment, a joke. You know, when you're joking around and you say something. Well, that's how it come about really, because my daughter Charlene lives here with her 4 children. She lives with us with 4 children. The oldest one is 13 and the other 3 are 3 under 5s. So obviously Brandon, the older one, has the bedroom of his own. So Charlene was joking around and she said, I tell you what we do, we chuck Grandad out the back and we'll build him a bigger shed. And they were joking, and I said, if you built me a bigger shed, I said I'd go out the back. I said it's not a problem. And she looked in surprise. She said, you wouldn't give up your room, because I've had this room ever since we moved in this house, 25, 26 years ago. So I've always had this room. And I said I would. I said the grandkids need a bedroom of their own, because at the moment they're living in or sleeping in Charlene's room, which isn't a massively big room, so that there's her and 3 children, which isn't ideal. And the reason that is the situation is because this is a 4-bedroom house, and as far as the council are concerned, this house is big enough for Charlene's needs, because there's 4 bedrooms, and she can't afford to private rent, because the rent for a private house around here is about £1,800 per month, and they're not in really high paid jobs, so they just couldn't do it. So I said, well, get this room built and I'll move in the garden. I don't mind, it's a room. So she thought to herself, well, the amount of rent it would cost, like say for 6 months paying private rent, she could build a game room, or what the council class it as a garden room. That's what they say it is, a garden room. Not a shed, a garden room. So that's what it is. So that's the reason I'm actually moving out of this room, to turn this room back into a bedroom for the 3 little ones. As I said, are under 5, and Jack, my grandson, is really looking forward to it. He can't wait. He comes up to me and says, what are we going to leave in your room, Grandad? What are you taking? What could I have? Blah blah. It's so comical. But yeah, so that's what's happened. Now the second question, why is it so big, you may ask? Right, well, this is the story of that. When we decided, yeah, that's what we're going to do, is build this game room, Jamie, that's Charlene's partner, his uncle said to us, I'll build it for you, free of charge. He said you buy the materials, and he's in the building trade, he does all that sort of thing, so he can get the materials at cost price, which will save us, or has saved us a fortune really. And Gary has done all this building himself. No one else has helped him. you've seen that what the room looks like so far. He's done every single bit of that himself. Now the reason it's so big, right, this is quite comical actually. Originally the shed was 19.5 by 10. So we thought we was going to bring it out to 16. So I asked Charlene, how much garden do you want for the kids and how much like room can I have? So Charlene pointed to the floor and said, well, I don't mind if it's this big. That's her measuring. I don't mind if it's this big. She hasn't got a clue about size. Which worked out roughly, we rounded up to 19.5 feet by 20 feet. I thought that's a nice size room. I can cope with that. So we got Gary started it, laying the concrete blocks, you know, the foundations and everything, doing the base, and he'd done all the concrete all the way around, you know, the base to sit it on, and he said, well, yeah, what do you think of that? I said, that looks all right, that looks pretty good. And Charlie said, yeah, that looks great, that's nice. And then Tony Chappell was here, and I took him out to show him the base, and I said, and he asked that what size was. I said 19.5 by 20, and he looked at me. He said, that looks bigger than 20. And I said, well, I thought that actually. So we got the tape measure out and we measured it, and it's 19.5 feet by 27 feet. That's the inside measurement. So I said to Charlene, that shed is bigger than we said we was going to build. And she said, she grinned and she said, I know. She said, Gary done it. So I said to Gary, that shed's 27 foot. It's meant to be 20. And he laughed. He said, well, I thought I'd give you a little bit of extra room. So that's how the size came about. And then he got on building the game room, and as you know, I got grassed up by someone, and the planners, you know, the planners had to come out, and he looked at the room, and he said, it's too high, you're gonna have to take it. It was about 14 inches too high. He said, if it was a couple of inches, he said, I might have been able to let it go. He said, but I can't let that go. So we had to take it down by a foot, or I say we. Gary did. So we had to take it down by a foot. Now I thought this planner was going to say to me, it's far too long. I thought he was going to say you've got to knock it back by at least 10 feet. And I said to him, what about the size of it then? He said, there's nothing wrong with the size of it, which I was gobsmacked. I said, so the size of it is okay, is it? He said, yes, just the height. So anyway, I was gobsmacked with that. I thought he was going to tell me to push it back at least 10 foot, but he said there was nothing wrong with it. He said, as long as the neighbours are okay with it. And we get on well with our neighbours. They're really nice neighbours. And Michelle next door. In fact, both the sides, when we finish this, we're putting new fencing in for the pair of them, just for the inconvenience and everything. So their side looks nice and neat. So I thought that's the least I can do. And anyway, yeah, when we lowered the roof, I keep saying we, I didn't do anything. I am going to be doing the inside, but I haven't been doing any of the outside stuff because I just can't do it. So poor old Gary's had to do it on his own. So he lowered the roof. It took him about 3 weeks to do it. It was a pain in the arse. And I got the bloke from the planning out again and said, well, what do you think now? And he said, perfect. And he passed it. I said, so you're definitely sure that the size of it is okay? He said, yeah. He said, if we get any more complaints or anything about the this building, he said, it's a garden room, not a shed. Because how it's going to be inside, it's not just a shed, because we're putting plasterboard and everything up. So he said it's a garden room. So he said if anyone ever complains, you say we'll just write to them and say we've been out there at the property and there's nothing wrong with it. So I was over the moon with that. You know, I thought, bloody hell, I've got a game room that's massive. Thanks to Gary adding an extra 7 feet that we was not planning on. So that's it. That's the two questions I've answered for today. Is why I'm having this game room built, and that is to allow my children in here to have a bedroom. But this will be all knocked out, and I'll show you a video of this room when it's turned into a bedroom. And B, why is it so big? Is because Charlene was okay with the size and Gary done a crafty, so it's all good. Now it's just a case of getting it finished. As I said in the last video, my son is doing the electrics this weekend, and we're having all that, I think it's called Celotech, isn't it, that polystyrene thick stuff. We're having all that delivered this week, so that will be going in there, and that's going to make a big difference to the room. And I will do a video of the room when all that work is done. So stay tuned to Gaming Granddad's channel, and you will see the progress as it happens. So anyway, this is Gaming Grandad, Little Gaming Grandad, saying bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.